How Color Affects Communication by Lynette Estrada, Devin Knowles, Jasmine Ramirez, and Pamela Thomas Bias. And so I'm going to talk about color and how, first I want to start off as how it's a nonverbal communication. And you ask, okay, what is a nonverbal communication? And so nonverbal is your gesture, your tone, it can be your facial expression, your body posture. And so these are examples of non-verbal communication, and color can be one of them. Because when you're wearing color in your appearance, it can say a lot about who you are and what kind of message you're creating. And so first I want to say the definition of color. And so it's when a light shines on an object, and so specific colors from the sun rays, which contains all the colors in the rainbow, Roy B. Jiv, and so it bounces off the object while others are absorbed by it. And so our eyes can only see the colors that are bounced off or reflected. And so you look around and it's just full of colors. Imagine living in a black and white world. It would not be fun. It'd be so boring. And so these colors really do play a big role on our day-to-day lives. And so at first, color is a communication tool, as we said before, and so it can change our mood, our thinking towards others. It creates this message, and it influences your desire, whether it's your desire of wanting customers to buy a certain project, or maybe it's your desire of, alarming someone that there is an accident ahead. And so whatever it is, it does play a big role in that. It also impacts credibility, honesty, and professionalism. And so these colors have a significant effect on not just psychology, but I think even our state of mind and physically. And so it plays a big role in our lives. And so it can communicate positive and negative messages in the business world and individually. And so we're going to talk about that later down in the slides on each color and each of its role in a positive way and a negative way, and what it does in the business world. And so we'll talk about that in a little bit. But it also can make a product irresistible. Specific colors can play a role in order to attract customers. And so color plays a role physically and emotionally. But first, physically, I think about women who wear black. It is said that when you wear black, you look slimmer. And so what woman doesn't want to look slim, right? And so the color black will make you look slim, but even people say if you wear stripes, it might make you look bigger. And so it's crazy that certain pattern or even colors will change the way that your size looks. Also, color affects your mood. You think about, okay, what colors soothe me? What colors irritate me? I think about, the color blue definitely soothes me. You think about blue skies. When it's nice outside, there's blue skies, you just feel so relaxed. But then, let's say it's rainy and it's gray outside, the clouds are out, it's a little dark. That can change your mood of being sad, feeling like, oh, it's cloudy outside, it's bringing your mood down. And so those are just two examples of how color can play a role, not only physically but also emotionally as well. So what's your favorite color? Color plays an important role in our lives. Color affects the way we think about our surroundings and even how we react to our surroundings. Most people have a favorite color. And so when you wear your favorite color, everyone looks at you. You probably feel great and feel confident because you feel secure and relaxed because that is your favorite color. And so this is why we wear a particular outfit for special occasions, and the right color makes all the difference. Hi, I will be talking about the specific colors of white, gray, black, and green. And so I'm going to talk about the specific colors of the positive messages, the negative messages, and also what it communicates in the business world. So I'm going to start off with white. The color white does a great job communicating with a fresh new start. And it also talks about the innocence and the youth of your days. And just an example of, imagine a woman walking down the aisle. She's about to get married with her white bridal dress, and I think that white definitely symbolizes purity. Talks about, this is her, her showing her husband, I'm pure before you, I'm innocent, I'm ready to live my life with you. And so this color can help your business look clean. It can make it look very pure and innocent, and definitely not messy, but you want to make sure not keeping it by itself, because when you have it by yourself, it kind of is like empty and it's isolated and it can come off as cold. And so white is definitely used with a lot of colors to make sure it brightens it and it helps it kind of stand out. The next one I would like to talk about is the color black. And the black helps the business world kind of sell the luxury and the elegance goods. And so black absorbs all of the colors and the absence of light. And so it can be a little intimidating, and it can come off as very unfriendly because you think about all black. It's like, whoa, like, it can come off as depressing and dark and secretive and evil. And so you want to make sure you're not doing too much black because it can really definitely go to the end of the spectrum of like very negative. But I think, when you look at the positive side, I think it does promote, sexiness, mysterious. It's very bold, powerful, authority. You think about men in their black suits, it shows, okay, I'm here, I have power, I've got it together, kind of color. And so in the business, it's used a lot because that's how they promote, especially in advertisements, a lot of like, okay, sexy, especially if you look in the women's magazine, it's like black, black, black. But too much of the color can come off as sad. It can remind people of a funeral. And so you want to make sure you are not using too much black. The next color I would like to talk about is green. And green is definitely can communicate to people very environmental, growth, nature, peace, and it gives people this sense of compassion. It nurtures people, and I think, again, the same thing with green. You do too much green and it can lead to greed and envious, because you think about money, and money, you look at the dollar bill and it's green itself, and so you want to make sure that you're not using too much green because it can come off as well too much greedy. But I think it can also communicate to people that, okay, it's a down-to-earth kind of person, you're loyal, you are loved, you love to be involved with the community, and so using this color in the business can promote, safety, nature, and new. And so definitely it gives a lot of health and healing when you're communicating with the green color. But finally, I would like to talk with the color gray. Gray is such an interesting color because I think, gray can be very negative. It can be very depressed. It can have a lack of energy. It's so bland. It's lifeless. Like a lot of people can think it's so lonely and cold. You think about, um, you know, gray, just sad. Um, but I think in the business world, it's definitely communicated as a safe color because it's neutral. It's not, at the end of the spectrum, it's in the middle and it's serious. Gray is controlled color, and so you're able to use other colors with it as well. Um, but you think about, gray, and you get older and you start to get gray hair, and so it can come off as a sense of wisdom, knowledge, mature. And so you do want to be careful with the amount of gray. It can be overwhelmed with sadness and depression, but in the business, outsiders see this maturity and responsibility. And even in the slide, you see George Clooney, advertising. Um, so it's just funny because I think he's advertising the watch, and it's like of old age color. You see the gray hair, you see the gray watch. Um, it does attract. It can attract attention, um, but I think it has its power. It can tone the advertising down, because it's such a neutral color. But yeah, those are the 4 colors that I wanted to talk about, and just how it communicates positive and negative messages, and how we can use it in our day-to-day lives. So thank you.
So I'm going to be covering the colors red, yellow, blue, and brown. I'm going to start off with red. It is usually, it's a warm and positive color. It draws attention to itself, and it calls for an action to be taken. It is energetic, passionate, um, gets people into action, and it shows strength and excitement. It represents a masculine energy, but most of the time it's more of the feminine, sensual, elegant. You usually see it on a woman wearing like a red dress. Um, it raises the blood pressure and the heart rate, and it also stimulates the appetite. So it's really nice when it's used for food because it makes it look like it tastes better, more flavorful. Red also excites and motivates, but too much of it can cause anxiety and tiredness. So moving on to yellow. Yellow is a warm and happy color. It's usually very bubbly and happy. Everyone is usually smiling when there's commercials, and it has like a yellow hue to it. It creates a sense of cheerfulness and playfulness, optimism. It is uplifting and very illuminating, so it's very bright. It stimulates the logical side of the brain and mental clarity. It promotes wisdom and academic proficiency as well. It inspires original thinking and creative ideas. It increases the analytical process of our logical reasoning, helping with decision making. So it's really good when you're trying to push a specific product. Too much yellow can cause anxiety, nervousness, apprehension, agitation, and confrontation. And it can also motivate people to become overly judgmental as well as deceitful. So using it too much instead of portraying some positive, happy product, it will cause the buyer to overthink things. Moving on to blue. Blue is the most universal color. It is used for most things. So therefore it is the safest to use just because it is seen everywhere. It relates to trust, honesty, and dependability, indicates confidence, reliability, and responsibility. It inspires wisdom and higher ideals, but is also conservative and predictable just because of the fact that it is used so much. It is calming and reducing tension and fear. It slows the pulse rate and reduces appetite, so usually it's not used for food, in contrast to red. Um, Being a cool color, it creates a really good sensation of space. It adds strength and unity, and is therapeutic to the mind and body just because it's so relaxing and everything like that. It brings harmony to the spoken word. So you can see it with slogans. When people read it, it just kind of all flows very nicely with the blue. It works well for corporate and often used for more conservative types of businesses like accounting firms insurance companies, banks, and other companies that use usually in like finance, where trust and reliability is very important. Younger people usually see blue as a very mature color, and it's usually geared toward the adult market unless it is a very bright, vibrant neon blue. And that's usually what the youth usually relate to. Too much blue can encourage boredom, manipulation, or a rigid outlook just because of the fact that it is seen everywhere and it's very conservative. Lastly, brown is associated with strength and solidarity, comfort, earthiness, maturity, and reliability. It gives people either reassurance and comfort or a feeling of dirtiness and suffocation. So using too much of it can turn people away. The right amount of balance is what needs to be found. It relates to the acquisition of material possessions, which implies security, safety, comfort, and homeliness. It suggests endurance, duty, and stability. Relates to the outdoors, mostly practical, down to earth, family unit. So, like families camping is usually kind of a brown tint to the whole kind of view of it. Men love brown due to the strength, security, and practicality of it. Sometimes it is regarded as a neutral color, although the lighter versions of it, like the beige and the taupes, tend to work better as a background rather than the dark browns. And women tend to find brown to be boring and too earthy, and they're the ones that usually see it as dirty. So it is definitely more geared towards males, so women don't really react very positively to the browns.
Color plays a vital part in our daily lives. It can elicit emotions from everyone in the room without ever saying a word. Sometimes the message we send with our apparel choices can be in direct conflict with the written message we are trying to convey. The background in our slides, the images we choose for emphasis, and the color of the wording in addition to the color of our shirt can make or break our presentation. Consider the intent of the presentation being delivered as well as the audience receiving the message. Each color draws out different emotions. Black and white are the absence or presence of light. They can be portrayed as good versus evil. The use of these colors can be helpful in emphasizing the difference in compare-contrast situations. When trying to nurture creativity, choose green hues. The green imagery brings to mind images of growth and peace. If you're needing to elicit morale and infuse energy into the group, choose yellow. It boosts optimism and enthusiasm for new ideas. Is your audience indecisive and needs to gain trust in both you and your company? Using blue tones with its reassuring presence can send the message of credibility, trust, and loyalty. Both gray and brown tones can be boring and can lose the attention of audiences. Be sure to coordinate those neutral tones with other complementing colors to get your point across. Remember, when choosing the color palette, to take into consideration the culture of the audience. Be aware of their backgrounds because different colors have different meanings in different cultures and countries. A bold image intended to demonstrate passion and strength can instead represent anger and aggressiveness in some countries. Keep in mind, too many colors or patterns can distract from the message being conveyed. In presentations, stick to a theme and be aware of how the images and text will appear on the screen or in print. Don't choose apparel with patterns that will distract from the message or communication. Colors have the power to influence others. The emotions that are elicited and the imagery and tones we choose are powerful and can help to guide the decision of the recipient before we even say anything. When it comes to colors, the choices are as plentiful as the words we choose to express our message.
So that is the end of our project. Thank you so much for listening to how color affects communication. I hope you enjoyed the presentation. You learned a lot about each color and when to wear it and how to wear it and seeing the information, the facts on what it can communicate, not only on yourself, but on your product in an advertisement, in your home, wherever it is you are able to know how the color can be communicated to others. So thank you again for listening to our project.